is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people. There is nothing the political establishment will not do, no lie that they won't tell, to hold their prestige and power at your expense.
I have a feeling that in the next election, you're going to be swamped with candidates, but you're not going to be wasting your time. You'll have plenty of those Democrats coming over, and you're going to say, no, sir, no, thank you. No, ma'am, perhaps, ma'am. It may be Pocahontas.
Senator Elizabeth Warren is now getting ready to visit Iowa this weekend, but her apparent 2020 bid is off to a very rough start.
Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer. Hey, Glover, my husband Bruce is now in here. You want a beer? I'm going to pull out a stool and sit down.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Ooh, wow, frosty one.
She pretended to be Native American, and now she's pretending to be Brett Kavanaugh. I mean, she would have had my vote if she shotgunned it. The problem with Warren, and you saw it there, and it goes back to her original sin about lying about her heritage, she has a problem not being herself. It's just obvious that she's inauthentic in everything she does.
She proclaims that she's of Indian heritage because her mother said she has high cheekbones.
Tonight, the leaders of the Cherokee Nation are speaking out against Senator Elizabeth Warren's campaign video touting her Native American ancestry courtesy of a newly revealed DNA test. The tribe saying in part, quote, a DNA test is useless to determine tribal citizenship.
You know, the one good thing about her test is that there was so little. She had less than the average American. But it's true, she has so little Indian, but she has none. That I cannot call her Pocahontas anymore. But if you don't mind, I'll continue. Do you mind? Because it'll show everybody what a phony she is.
House Republicans today accused Elizabeth Warren of improperly interfering with government efforts to resolve disputes over mortgage foreclosures.
The hearing today, who's watching the Watchmen?
Ms. Warren, it was a simple request. Your staff had a request. My staff said we're trying to accommodate you. We're going to get you out of here in 10 minutes.
No, Congressman, we had an agreement.
You had no agreement.
We had an agreement for the time this hearing would
You're
occur.
making this up, Ms. Warren.
You asked it.
Simply, this is not the case. This is not the case.
The left says it's deeply opposed to splitting up families. So were they even more horrified watching an American citizen permanently separated from her family by an illegal alien?
I'm so sorry for the family here, and I know this is hard, not only for the family, but for the people in her community, the people throughout Iowa. But one of the things we have to remember is we need an immigration system that is effective, that focuses on where real problems are.
Marian Mendoza is the mother of Police Sergeant Brandon Mendoza, who was killed by an illegal immigrant. When you hear a politician say, yeah, someone died and that's sad, but the real problem is how we treat people trying to sneak into our country illegally, what's your response to that?
I was disgusted by Senator Elizabeth Warren hearing her speak today. Stop lying to the American people because you don't care what is happening to the victims of illegal alien crime. The American people crying for help, and they're stepping over dead American bodies in their rush to protect illegal alien criminals.
Failed candidate.
I'm going to run for President of the United States because as a young mom, I will fight for your children as hard as I would fight for my own. You have to be able to take on the corruption in Washington. You have to be able to take on the special interests that write legislation in the dead of night, not for you and me, not for the people, but for those with the power. And I know that I have the compassion and the courage and the fearless determination. And I know this because of all the people on whose shoulders I stand.
Senator Kirsten Gillibrand gauges Wall Street executives' interest in backing a potential 2020 presidential run. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand is reaching out to Wall Street executives to gauge potential support if she were to run for president in 2020. It's a funny place to reach out for support, isn't it? Gillibrand has personally herself been working the phones and calling senior executives at Wall Street firms. Now you know who runs the goddamn country, right? She has to reach out to them to see if, hey, do you guys think I could be a good leader? You think I'm viable?
No.
Who did you ask? Wall Street executives? What the?
If we are not helping people, we should go the home.
Kirsten Gillibrand, one of the Democratic women who has come out and said there should be an investigation into these accusations by so many women against the President of the United States about sexual misconduct. So then he tweeted on that. Here's what he said. Lightweight Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, a total flunky for Chuck Schumer and someone who had come to my office begging for campaign contributions not so long ago.
Begging for my endorsement.
And he put in parentheses and would do anything for them.
Drop to your knees.
Is now in the ring fighting against Trump. Very disloyal to Bill and crooked, used. We're going to talk. There's the tweet. You see it right there.
Look, I'll put up a lot. Being lectured by Kirsten Gillibrand about sexual harassment after she spent, 10 years covering for Bill Clinton, who was credibly accused 2 decades ago of sexual assault, rape. Why should I take my moral cues on this question from someone who's as cynical as that?
Failed candidate.
We're here now with Senator Kamala Harris. She's a Democrat from California, first elected to the Senate in 2016 after 20 years as a prosecutor, including stints as the district attorney for San Francisco and attorney general of California.
And Senator Harris has also been laying the groundwork for a run for the White House. It is great to have you with us on this special holiday. Do you have an announcement you'd like to make?
I am running for president of the United States.
California Senator Kamala Harris became the latest to enter that 2020 race. Her comments as a sitting senator have been some of the most despicable in Washington, like when she compared brave Border Patrol and ICE people to the KKK.
The Klan was what we would call today a domestic terrorist group.
Why? Why would we call them domestic terrorist group?
Because they tried to use fear and force to change political environment.
Are you aware of the perception of many about how the power and the discretion at ICE is being used to enforce the laws? And do you see any parallels?
I do not see any parallels between
I'm talking about perception.
Officers and agents.
I'm talking about perception.
I do not see a parallel between what is constitutionally mandated as it relates to enforcing the law.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
I see no.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
That puts ICE in the same category as the KKK. Is that what you're asking me?
It gets far worse. Remember when she got busted for releasing deceptively edited video to smear Justice Kavanaugh and push the anti-Catholic bigotry by grilling one of President Trump's judicial nominees over belonging to the Knights of Columbus? How is this in any way unifying? How is this good for the country?
You were a leader of the Me Too movement. You were the very vocal on the Senate Judiciary Committee during Kavanaugh. An unfortunate thing happened on your staff, which is that one of your top aides, you had to resign a few weeks ago, Larry Wallace. And in fact, he's mentioned in the book at one point helping you run the Attorney General Department or the Department of Justice in California in fixing the problem of implicit bias.
Senator Kamala Harris's longtime aide, Larry Wallace, was accused of sexual harassment by his former assistant, Danielle Hartley. The two worked together at the Department of Justice while Harris was the Attorney General, and in December 2016, Hartley sued the DOJ. According to her complaint, Wallace harassed her in various ways, which included Wallace putting his printer underneath his desk on the floor and ordering Hartley to put paper in Wallace's printer or replace the ink on a daily basis, many times while he was sitting at his desk or with other male executives in the room.
As somebody who is a leader of the Me Too movement, how did this happen and you didn't know about it? And what did you learn about it, given that it kind of struck close to home?
Sure. First of all, it was a very painful experience to know that that something can happen in one's office of almost 5,000 people, granted, but that I didn't know about it. Are you aware of the perception?
Failed candidate.